Today I have Jessica Demol, who is a psychologist specialising in eating disorders.
Anybody that had a propensity to be anxious, COVID, it sent a lot of people over the edge. In terms of the youth, they missed massive sections of their life without having social development. The anxiety the lockdown created, a lot of people used food to manage that and regulate that.
Hi and welcome to Driven Women, brought to you by Cash and Rocket. I'm Julie Brangstrup, and this is a space where horsepower meet ambition, where style, energy, and a little bit of rebellion fuel every conversation.
The key is regular eating. Try to expose your kids to as much variety as possible.
Are there any advice that you say to any of these young girls out there?
My advice would be to manage your social media time. Everything has got so normalised, super skinny, plastic surgery at a young age. I mean, you're seeing all the celebrities do some crazy stuff on there, and these are all these young people's idols.
What is your view on AI then?
It's not a real person. If you have a high risk patient in front of you, suicide risk. But of course, ChatGPT is not doing that. I think it's very dangerous.
Welcome to Driven Women. Today I have Jessica Demol. Is that pronounced correctly?
That's pronounced correctly.
Who is a psychologist specialising in eating disorder, as some of the many things. And we're going to have a lot of questions in regards to social media, the youth, what's happened after the lockdown. And so thank you so much for joining me in this lovely little taxi.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
How come you ended up, in psychology and becoming a psychologist? And...
Since a child, I've always had a fascination with biology and the brain. I had a very interesting father, colourful father with a big personality, which created more fascination, and quite a complex childhood. And I always ended up becoming like the agony aunt to my friends, and I don't know, it just kind of grew out of that. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go into medicine, and then it grew towards psychology, and then came into
how come
eating disorders.
Yeah.
So that actually came a good 10 years into becoming a psychologist and working. There was always this course in the background and a fascination with biology. And I had my daughter at the time was a young girl, and I was quite aware of what was going on in her school. And then I found myself just doing some courses in that direction, loving that field, loving the cohort that working with. At the time, it was very predominantly young female, and then just has stayed with it ever since.
Okay. And obviously it's growing.
Yes.
The numbers.
Yes, exactly.
And what are we talking about in regards to, eating disorders, girls versus boys? Are the numbers similar?
No, predominantly it's girls, but it's not to say that boys don't suffer.
Yeah.
They do, and definitely more with the time, but it might be more bulking rather than slimming down. So it's kind of different things, but...
Bulking, you mean?
As in a lot of protein, maybe not eating balanced there, and potentially having an eating disorder, but not necessarily being under-eating.
Right.
And they often don't seek help.
Right.
So you see in the eating disorder award a couple of boys here and there, but it's predominantly female.
Right.
And predominantly young female. And again, that's not to say that older females don't suffer. They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And it's quite a phenomenon now that menopausal women are becoming quite over-restricting and orthorexic with their eating. But again, they don't seek help as much because they're functioning. As long as you're functioning, you find people don't seek help.
So women that do it all are the ones in that category that doesn't go and seek help.
Quite frequently, yes.
Right.
And again, because they are so highly functioning.
Yeah.
Often got the big job, the kids at school, juggling all these balls in the air, and the eating disorder becomes a very dysfunctional coping mechanism that may have existed for a long time, but it's so indoctrinated that it just becomes a way of life. And they're highly functioning, so they don't feel the need.
And do you think they even realise that?
Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I have had women come to me after having an eating disorder for like 20 years, like bulimics, people that are purging, physically purging. I have had quite a few that have been vomiting since they were early teens and not seeking help until they're in their 30s.
Can't you? But surely you can.
Yeah, you can. So if it's very bad, you can get swollen salivary glands. Yes, there's lots of negative effects that you can get health-wise. It's actually incredibly dangerous because you unbalance your fluids, and you need potassium to maintain your heart rate. So it actually is a high risk of heart attack.
Right.
When you're vomiting. But again, you know, you can learn techniques and how to manage that. And it's a lot of hard work and a lot of space for them to now find recovery in what would be a very busy life.
Yeah. And what about their partners? Are they involved in the process of getting them the help that they actually need? I mean, or is it just, let's just clean that up?
Over the years, I've seen a real mixture. Some people have come with the partners not knowing.
Yeah.
Some people have finally revealed to their partners, and then they're, supporting them through their treatment. So it really is a mixture.
Okay. And after lockdown, we have had the youth are the ones that has been affected. Can you explain to me a bit more about what's happening? What are you seeing, and what are the reactions?
So I think COVID, it sent a lot of people over the edge.
Yeah.
Anybody that had a propensity to be anxious, COVID tipped a lot of people over the edge. In terms of the youth, they missed massive sections of their life without having social development. For a 10-year-old to miss 2 years is like missing 20% of their life. So I think with the young, we really saw a lot of people suffer after COVID. And consequently, there's been quite a few where there's been a higher rise of eating disorders, because again, the anxiety that COVID, the lockdown created, a lot of people used food to manage that and regulate that. Some people turn to alcohol, some people turn to drugs, some people become incredibly anxious, depressed, and some turn to managing their food to manage their mood, regulate their mood.
And what about social media? That must have also this whole perfect picture of everyone having non-edited, edited body, or what,
Social media creates a total facade of what really is reality. I mean, we know life before social media, but these young people don't.
Yeah.
And they really believe what they see.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of pro-anorexic sites.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of exposure on social media that becomes really part of the problem. On every angle, body image, FOMO, making people feel less than, not good enough, because why is their life so good and mine's not? But the reality is it's not.
Yeah.
And it's not a true picture of what you're seeing here.
Yeah.
Like you say, over-editing, no one looks like that.
Yeah.
It's not a real picture, but the young think that that's normal.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it's not.
And so when these young ladies comes in to see you, asking for help, what are, with an eating disorder, what are the tools that you as their therapist, but also as a family, can help with?
So eating disorder is always a family dynamic.
Yeah. Oh.
It usually is always a family dynamic. So depending on how young they are, but yes, when they're young, yes, it is helpful to have the parents involved, because there's food is part of every day. We can't survive without food. It's not like alcohol that we can just cut it out. We can't. We need to learn how to manage food. So yes, the family's involved. When you're dealing with an eating disorder, you have to deal with behavioral activation first and getting them eating balance 3 times a day. And then that way you're managing, plus their snacks, you're managing their blood sugar. And then once you've got the food in place, which is, easier said than done, but, that takes perseverance, and it depends if they need to, if they're underweight, that they need to restore weight.
Or gain.
As in gain.
Really slowly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is tough. It's really tough. Because remember, they're using the food to manage really difficult emotions. But until you get them back to a balanced weight, then you start dealing with the psychology and the beliefs. Well, you do it alongside, but when they're so underweight, it's very difficult to deal with the belief system without getting their weight restored.
So you've got to go in and find out why they're doing it in the first place. So those emotions they're trying to get rid of.
Yes, there's a lot of
or control.
managing their emotions and helping them to have healthier techniques to manage their emotions.
And what would one of those techniques be?
So when it comes to regulating emotions, some people they just don't share with anyone, and so they're very closed and isolated. They might not be socializing. They might be, not being revealing anything to their mother and father, who could be part of their social system. But I guess it really depends on what. So, for example, if I have somebody with binge eating disorder. Binge eating disorder is an eating disorder where you overeat a lot in any given situation. It usually involves restricting throughout the day. You get very low blood sugar, consequently you get cravings, and then you overeat. It's almost like the body's way to balance the loss of food in the day, because your body just really wants to kind of balance, because eating is a drive. So you can't, that's the thing with an eating disorder, you will always have a drive to eat, and that's why it becomes such a mental issue when you undereat. You can also just have binge eating disorder where you eat regularly, you do have a balanced blood sugar, and then you find yourself eating as a way to regulate your emotions, almost like emotional eating. So I'm thinking off the top of my head.
What's more, like
what's
not
more
eating
common?
at all, or binge eating?
So
Like,
the thing
things...
with eating disorders is they're transdiagnostic. And what I mean when I say that, they never stay in one section. So you can start off with anorexia, and like 9 times out of 10, you will move into binge eating disorder, which will potentially move into bulimia, which will potentially then become atypical eating disorder. So this is one of the things, because eating is a drive. We can't survive without eating. So it's a drive within us. So we are always compelled to eat. So if you starve yourself and restrict yourself for so long, eventually your brain will force you to eat. And people with bulimia will report that they will be like in a trance-like state, eating almost unconsciously, because like I said, it's a drive. And that's what it means when I say transdiagnostic. You don't generally start in, you might start in one type, but you generally end up with atypical. It generally ends up a case of restriction, overeating, restriction, overeating. And that's why getting the regular eating and balancing the blood sugar is the first place to start behaviorally.
So that's the tool you give them. You try and get them in, saying have 3 meals a day.
And it's all about explaining that what's different with eating disorder treatment compared to some of the other disorders is you go through explaining the biology of what's happening to them in their body, what we call psychoeducation, so they really understand what's happening, because often they will arrive and be like, yes, I was in a trance-like state, it's the most awful sensation, and you can explain to them how and why, and through the knowledge that becomes part of the treatment, is to help them to understand why they need to balance their blood sugar. And then once they do it, then they feel the benefits, and and it becomes step-by-step process.
Okay. And I mean, as a mother of 4 daughters, and 2 boys, and all of the lovely women, the men that's going to watch this, what are we looking for? Like, what is there something that at a certain age, teenage?
I mean, as a mother also of 3, and as an eating disorder specialist, the two come combined when you have children. But the key is regular eating. Try to expose your kids to as much variety as possible.
No, but wait. So, in the morning,
yes,
certain humans just don't like breakfast. Doesn't matter what you put in front of them. And I've always made my children say, no, this is the most important meal. Now there's all this research coming out that it's no longer actually the case. For every every body type. But I do think it's important. But then obviously they go to school, and then the next meal that you see them eat is in the evening. Exactly. So how do you kind of schedule that, and how?
I don't agree with the intermittent fasting. I appreciate that there's lots of research out there, and I definitely don't think it's a way for growing children to eat. and nor a way to start your day at school.
Yeah.
With a low blood sugar, and then you're expected to have full concentration in class. So I would always promote breakfast, and first of all, with an eating disorder, all of that has to go out the window. Intermittent fasting or anything like that, because it becomes part of the eating disorder. We have to go back to breakfast, lunch and dinner, balance the blood sugar.
Yeah.
So again, with children, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I do appreciate there are people that don't eat breakfast, but maybe they don't have an eating disorder.
Yeah.
If you have any signs of eating disorder, you need to have regular eating.
Yeah.
And also, any extreme weight loss is something to be cautious of, because once you get below a certain weight, the eating disorder can take on a mind of its own almost.
Right.
And the obsession can come in, because again, that's almost an evolutionary response of your brain to get you to eat. And then that's when it can get quite tricky. You know, honestly, it's probably no different from how your mother raised you.
Yeah.
Eat everything, eat your meal first, then have dessert. We don't need to have dessert every day. You know, just try to have balance, have movement, promote exercise, sleep well, socialize well. As often as you can get your children around a dining table for your meals, which I know isn't always practical, is a bonus, and that you all eat the same things. And yes, the reality is one kid's going to be like, I don't like this meal tonight.
Yeah.
That's okay.
They're not allowed to do that in my family.
Yeah.
They eat whatever is served.
Exactly. One's going to like it one night, one's going to prefer it that night, one's going to, and we get on the end of the list, right?
Exactly.
I just have to eat what
Exactly. No. They eat what has been served.
Yes.
It's interesting because obviously with the different research, I still believe that anything you can have at breakfast will just set them off and get, I always explain to them that it's like a car, it needs petrol.
Yes,
or if it's electric, it needs to be plugged in.
If you don't put fuel in the engine, it will break down.
Exactly. So, eat healthy, but you can also sometimes have a snack, something that, at the end of the day can give you that boost before they have a club after school,
yes,
etc.
absolutely.
Yeah. So what would be amazing also is for the children to have more education about that in school.
It's true, but again, that's, when you were talking about the social media, there is so many headlines with the food.
Yeah.
Don't eat this, like you say, intermittent fasting, don't eat sugar, don't eat that, don't eat this. And that is also creating which a diagnosis called orthorexia, where we only eat healthy food, but consequently you're cutting out major food groups.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Processed food, of course, we shouldn't be eating it all day long, but we can eat everything. Just aim for whole foods, and yes, you can have cakes here and there. Yes, you can have, a takeaway once a week. The idea is you just don't have them all the time, and you're
moderation.
Yes, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Balance is what seems to have got lost.
Yeah. So are there any advice that you say to any of these young girls out there who is very worried about besides from saying having a balanced diet, but are there any other things that you kind of would say to them, as an advice to
I think I think the social media is the thing that
has
tipped it.
Yeah,
I really do, because everything has got so normalized.
Yeah.
Whether it be the super skinny experience, the super skinny appearance, or whether it be plastic surgery at a young age. I mean, you're seeing all the celebrities do some crazy stuff on there, and these are all these young people's idols.
Yeah.
It's normalized things that shouldn't be normalized, and it's made aspects look more glamorous than what they are. It's not a true picture.
Yeah.
My advice would be to manage your social media time, eat balance, and always have movement in your life. Movement, exercise. It doesn't have to be exercise per se. It can be walking. We also find that young people don't go on bikes anymore. They're not walking to school anymore. They're sitting at home on Xbox, or they're sitting on their social media. Young people can lose hours sitting at home all weekend looking at social media. You're not getting natural light. It's against human nature.
Or playing games.
Or socializing.
Yeah. Well, so that's another part. So there must be a big effect on actually the youth being able to communicate.
Yes.
It is lacking tremendously because they just
Completely.
used to be sitting there watching and not having to interact.
And now I think it's all, the interaction is very much through Snapchat or text, or how much the telephone conversations are happening, I don't know.
Yeah.
It happens, but not like it used to.
Yeah.
And meeting up.
Yeah. And actually just engaged in a conversation.
Yeah.
They don't know also, looking at the young, generation, they don't ask, so what, where are you from? They don't ask, about each other the same way that we would have done when we were young.
Yeah.
So
I think they're very overstimulated with all of the social media. So their concentration span is very short as well.
Yeah. So what is your view on AI then, and the future of AI on the human beings?
Well, the AI is becoming quite big in the psychology therapy field recently. There's been quite a few articles actually. I read an article recently that in the Times that it can cause psychosis, or someone was talking to a chat GBT had named their therapist, and it had caused psychosis because it's not a real person.
Yeah.
So I read another article actually last week.
But that person will never talk back at you.
Well, it doesn't disagree. So if you have a high risk patient in front of you, you will do a suicide risk. But of course, ChatGPT is not doing that.
No.
So it's I think it's very dangerous. The other thing is therapy is per week or in an organized time, whereas this is all day, every day.
Yeah.
So where do you foster the independence?
Yeah.
Because that's, the idea is that you are coming to therapy to learn some skills because some things have got lost in the way, and then, you're on your way and you learn how to practice them. Whereas if you've actually got access to therapist, ChatGPT, whenever you want, where do it's quite a blurred line.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So I think it's quite dangerous.
Well, they have all these new films, Companion, that came out. It's all about this guy who buys a robot and makes into a girlfriend. I mean, the whole thing is crazy to watch. But does it scare you? Have you seen some cases?
I mean, there's
with
other
patients
aspects, obviously, of AI that do scare me. Like, there's a lot of jobs that will become obsolete. But I mean, that's separate from therapy. I think in terms of therapy, you're always going to need the one-on-one, face-to-face, because it's largely, if you look at all the research, what helps the client recover and make changes, the research shows it's mainly the relationship. So irrelevant of all the different techniques you apply, it really is the relationship that you create
with
the client and the therapeutic alliance. Now, how can you develop a real relationship with a machine? I mean, and then if you do that,
apparently you can just
be healthy, can it?
No,
it's not real.
Yeah.
And then you're missing this.
Yeah.
Since COVID, that has been quite amazing that we did open up, that suddenly we could do therapy online. And I have to say, I have done some really good therapy online and treated people that I've never actually met in person. However, they have been older. I think with children, I don't recommend it. And if I see any of my child clients online, it will be to fit in because they've, can't make a session because of a competition at school or a tournament or whatnot. But I wouldn't promote it because you really do need this.
Yeah.
It's really hard to engage a child on a machine.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just another screen for them, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to get them away from the screens, not on the screens.
Yeah. Actually, we should cut it down.
Yeah.
No, we have put that on some of our children now to control it a bit.
Honestly, I think there will be a time where it will be so controlled. Unfortunately, it's our children that are the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
One day, I think it will be controlled because it's just too dangerous for young people.
Yeah, too much.
It's too much. There's no restrictions. There's no boundaries. You can see bit by bit. But our children's children, I'm sure it'll be controlled by them.
We would have seen all the outcome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, poor them having to deal with all of that then.
Yeah.
So what's the next, in your life, of specializing in different things or keep focusing? I mean, the field is growing.
Yes. No, it is growing. Interestingly, actually, I've veered off and started life coaching as well alongside the therapy, because it's, in the therapy I'm always dealing with psychopathology, and in the life coaching I'm always dealing with the healthy part of the individual.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't
boost them. And
yes, and it's not that I don't sometimes end up doing psychology with my life coaching clients, but when I'm doing the life coaching, I'm dealing with the healthy part of the individual.
Yeah.
So I have veered off into that. But I've got to say, I do love working with eating disorders, because, and I have colleagues that have said to me, God, I don't know how you do that. That's so intense. And you know what? I feel it's a blip in time for these young people. I can get them back on track and their whole life's ahead of them. And it will just be a blip. I always feel so hopeful for them. And that's what I do love about eating disorders.
Yeah.
That you can always get them back on track and you really see them turn around.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
But however, isn't there a saying that if you have had anorexic or bulimia, sorry, I'm trying to speak Danish half the way through, that it always will stay with you?
It really depends on how long you've had it.
Right.
And if you've had it for a very long time, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But some people can, I guess there could always be remnants, there could always be a belief system that can come back. Remember that the eating disorder has definitely helped them at one point to get them through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
So they go through a difficult time again in the future, which, that's life. It's all pits and troughs.
Yeah.
Yes, will their brain go there and think, I want to regulate emotions by restricting today or overeating? Yes, I think there will be those moments, and maybe there will be times that they feel they might slip and then come back on track. But really they can get their life back on track, that it becomes a distant memory, and it's a little bit like a smoker. Does a smoker ever forget that they smoked? It really depends on how long they smoked.
Yeah.
So if you catch someone, like I've had people that have had eating disorder, say for a year, 6 months to a year, you can get them back on track, that in 10 years time, they don't feel anything. They remember, but they don't actually feel it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it's not.
Then there's other people that 20 years, yes, you can get them back on track, but they're always having to hold it in mind. And the longer they are managing to be on track, the more those neural pathways get in place, and the more it becomes a distant memory. It's like breaking a habit.
Yeah. So it's just to get them through that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's what you say. If you have those kind of disorder, that you have to take one addiction and put it into something else.
Yes. Sometimes make it a healthier version.
Exactly.
Sometimes that does happen, actually.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful with that, because sometimes that can slip over into over exercising, which is a disorder in itself.
Right. Okay. So, oh my God, we have to look out for everything.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, over exercising can be a way of purging. So purging isn't always just bulimia.
Right.
It can also be over exercising.
Okay.
Is another way of purging.
But now with wellness, you
can see how complicated it becomes.
So,
yeah, you see how complicated, because it's like, what's balance?
Yeah.
And then you have someone saying to you, yes, but I heard it's good to not eat for 16 hours. Yeah, but the whole point is, with this version of, which I question, I truly believe that if you eat breakfast, lunch and dinner and your snacks, and you finish eating at 7 o'clock at night, and you don't eat breakfast until 7 o'clock the next day, you've done a natural 12 hours intermittent fasting anyway, haven't you? But we've now just lost concept, because we're constantly grazing. If you remember sweets when we were kids, they used to be penny sweets. So you couldn't ask them out to count more than 20. So 1 penny, 2 penny, 20.
Yeah.
Now Haribo's like this. So it's almost like everyone's encouraged to overeat.
Yeah.
And so we've all lost concept of what's balance and what's normal.
Yeah.
And that's what we teach as families, the breakfast, lunch and dinner, eating together, having a balanced meal on your plate. It's all learning portion size, learning regular eating, learning to eat as a family,
Yeah.
all of those things you're putting in place for your children.
But I also like eating as a family. You know, I
Yes.
like sitting there every night, listening to the story and what's
Yes.
happened.
Well, that's when you
catching up.
reconnect,
Yeah.
right?
Because the morning is always a bit hectic. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
And chaotic.
can't
You're running against the
Find
time.
their uniform or whatever, you know. So and so with the whole new of wellness and not fast, eating healthy snacks, what are the things that you're most worried about with all? I mean, you know, wellness is one of those industries that are growing
Yeah.
tremendously, and it's going in, especially to our age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone wants to look younger
Yeah.
and healthier, and we're going to all be 100, so we've got to make sure that, you know,
Yes.
everything is following. But is there something that you say actually in this element, just obviously everything is moderation, as you said earlier, but anything else that where you say you need to?
Honestly, the key is balance.
Yeah.
It's like we've all lost balance with everything, right?
Mm.
How much we work, how much you exercise. It's balance. I think, I really think that's the key.
Yeah. So balance is the key.
Balance, I really think, is the key. With
Yeah.
everything in life, is how, you know, you can only juggle so much in the air. You can only burn the candle at, you know, at both ends for so long. I really think balance is the key.
Yeah, and so that would be a very good advice to all the young.
Yeah. Even when I have generalized anxiety disorder, often it can be that their life is not balanced. You know, you need to have a certain amount of social, a certain amount of movement involving exercise or just general movement, a certain amount of sleeping, a certain amount of your own hobbies and interests, your certain amount of time spent with family, a certain amount of time spent alone. We need this balance, and
Yeah.
that's what makes us have good well-being.
Yeah.
If we have too much work, we get burnt out. If we have too much social, we have no purpose. You know, we need
Yeah.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, no, you're very right. So that would definitely be the advice of today, you know, balance your life in every element.
Exactly.
Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming.
you for
and for
having
giving
me.
us this knowledge, because, you know, there's so much happening out there the whole
Yeah,
time, and
there
you're
is.
reading so many different things
We're
and articles, and
overexposed,
we are
yeah.
overexposed,
It's true,
and
it's true,
where
it's
are we
true.
going, left and right, and what
Yeah,
should we do?
it's
And
confusing. It's
so
overwhelming.
it's super confusing.
Yeah.
And if it's confusing for us, can you imagine what they are going through?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
very confusing life to live in,
Absolutely.
and especially with so many things going on.
It's true.
So this has been a gift. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.